Last season, we had a guest talk to us about life as a boy mom. So, of course, we got to show love to our girl moms out there, too. Today's guest has 3 daughters, and she's going to share all the details on how life is raising 3 daughters. We're talking makeup, dating, curfews, friend drama, and more. We can't wait to get started, so grab your drinks, pop in those headphones if you have little ones around, and let's dive right into episode 68.
Cheers!
Hello, Patrice. Thank you so much for joining us for this Girl Moms episode. We're so excited to chat with you. So tell us how many daughters you have and how old are they?
I have 3 daughters. I call them the triple A's. The oldest one is Alyssa. She's 14. The middle one is Amaya. She's 10. And my last but not least is Aaliyah, and she just turned 7.
The triple A's. How cute.
Are you and your husband A's?
No, she's Patrice.
Oh, shit. Well, maybe she has like another, like, you know how Romy has a Sharon. Yeah.
And the T, we do
Actually,
it.
no, it had nothing to do with that.
Nothing.
How funny.
You just started with one A, so you're like, I'm just going to keep the A's rolling.
It was a good idea when we were giving, when I had them. Like, I thought it was going to be cute. But once I had them, I started mixing up their names all the time. And I'm like, I don't know. I named them all with an A. So, yeah.
You're like, what? They're like,
Don't
what?
feel bad. I mix my kids' names up and they're not the same
Letter.
So I think it's just a thing that moms do when you have multiple kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have L's for the kids.
Yeah.
So,
But I do
Patrice,
mix them.
how did you react when you found out you were having your 3rd girl?
Oh, my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. It's ridiculous.
Don't be.
So-
don't be
honest.
Yes, be brutally honest.
I'm sure a lot of people who would be able to relate to your honesty.
If you've seen my Facebook, like, it's so funny because, they give you those flashbacks like 7 years ago or 8 years ago. So I literally found out I was pregnant. I posted, I'm pregnant. I said, I posted like I'm having a boy, and I went to commercials and I bought everything boy. Like, I bought blue
Before
receiving.
you even found out, you just
I found out. I said I'm gonna manifest it. I'm speaking into existence. About it. I am gonna have a boy. Like, and I would say stuff like, I'm getting this soap to wash his penis. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm gonna have a boy. So we go to the ultrasound, and they at Kaiser, and they give the ultrasound. It's me and my husband, and she's like telling us, here's a leg and here's whatever. And then she says, I said, do you see a hot dog or a hamburger patty? And she said, I see a hamburger patty. Congratulations, you're having a girl. I held it in the minute, it's like she said, I said, oh, thank you. Or my husband said, thank you. I didn't say anything. I didn't say thank you. The minute she walked out, I started bawling. I cried so hard, like a loud, like ridiculous cry. And then he's all like, baby, it's fine. Like, that's just what we're supposed to have. And I was like, ugh! I just cried, right? So then I was so mad. Like, first of all, I got rid of the receipts for everything I purchased. Like, that's how serious I was. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to keep receipts. I'm not taking nothing back. I gave stuff away. But I felt so guilty afterwards because I was thinking, people find out that something's wrong with their children in this room. And I'm crying like this because I'm not getting what I want, like a little spoiled brat. So I felt guilty, but
Don't feel guilty. It happens to the best
It
of
happens
us.
to
trust
all,
me.
probably everyone.
Yeah.
What made you decide you were done at 3?
because I just cannot imagine having another girl.
But what if it was a boy?
You don't want to take a chance?
I love my girls to death, and to be honest, once you have them,
Yeah, you can't see your life without them. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I wouldn't even want them to be a boy now, but I still want a boy, if that makes any sense, like, so, well, it's that, and it was like, to make sure our lifestyle is comfortable, I just think 3 is enough. Like, I want to be able to give my kids everything they need and a lot of what they want, and I feel like any more than 3 is pushing it. So
That's responsible.
Yeah,
That's very responsible.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever consider adopting a boy? Did you go that far? Or
actually, yes. Well, okay, so first, I'm adopted. Like, I grew up.
oh my God, I never knew that.
Really? I grew up in foster care. Like, I was taken away from my biological mom when I was 3 years old, and I stayed in the system my whole life.
I never knew that.
Not a bad story because but I stayed in the system my whole life. I went from a few foster homes, and then I ended up in another foster home in which my adopted mom ended up adopting me. But I didn't get adopted until I was in high school, officially adopted. I was living there prior to that, but I didn't get adopted until I was in high school. So I always said, before I had children, before I met my husband, if every foster child had that, that turns out okay, gets foster children, then we would have a lot less kids that are without homes. And, I feel like we can relate a little bit more, even if you're really, really nice, you still don't understand how it feels to want to ask for something to eat, but you don't know if you can because that's your first night in this house and, stuff like that. Like, I understand that feeling. So I always wanted that. But my husband, feels like more so about protecting our own children. And a lot of the foster children, unfortunately, have been through
so much
that he felt like they're girls and we have to wait until they're old enough to. So it's not a no, and we're not counting it out yet, but that's potential. I would definitely go through foster care and then adopt, not just adopt a baby.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's a cool insight on that. Mm-hmm.
So this is like a girl question. Are all little girls sassy?
All mine. I feel like they have their different personalities, but I think the basis of a girl, for the most part, is some similarities. Like girls, I feel like they care about things a lot earlier than boys. So they have sass when it comes to like what they look like early. Like my girls like want to know, like don't want to wear something when they're like 4. Mm-hmm. Like they, like they already want to wear their hair a certain way. And I feel like my friends who have boys, they don't really care. Like little boys are like, oh, just whatever I put out, you put out, the kids will wear. But my daughters have always been so intuitive when it comes to like appearance and things like that. So I feel like the sass comes with, like, I don't want to wear that, or I don't want to do my hair like that, or, so yes.
Your little girls are like that, right? They're like 3, 4 already.
Oh yeah. I don't think Ray is such a little angel. I don't think Ray is.
She's starting to get sass, but it's funny because her sass is different. Instead of like back talking, it's more of ignoring. Like the other day, I was like, come inside, and she looked at me from the corner of her eye, and she just kept going. And I had to snatch her up, and I was like, you hurt me. Come inside. Now you're gonna be in trouble. Like don't just ignore me.
Eye contact, it doesn't count. So
exactly. Like she doesn't see me.
I'm definitely dealing with that. I don't want to wear that. I want a JoJo Siwa ponytail. I'm definitely dealing with the 4-year-old. A ponytail to the side with a big bow.
Oh.
So
yes, and then the part that's really funny is because my when they're young, they don't understand either, like different race and different types of hair, and so your hair is curly and natural, and you cannot wear the same hairstyle. Whose hair is straight, and we just different, or they want to wet their hair in the shower. Like we don't wash our hair in the shower every day like that. So, but they see their friends do that. So yeah,
that is the point. Explain that too, because the minute if I go a day without doing Harley's hair, just like one day I'm like I don't feel like it, the next day I'm paying for it because the combing it out process is like, no, we have to do this every day.
And not only that, they have different textures. Like her hair is a lot smaller curls, right? Tighter curls. And then she probably sees your hair and she's like, I want my hair to be straight.
And her hair is different from her brother's too. All the curl pattern is different. So that's a good point. Another question for you. Is the daddy's little girl really a thing? And do you think your girls are more attached to you or dad?
So I feel like the dynamics of our house is a little bit different because I think, since my husband's active duty, he's
you should explain that to our listeners that you're also not just a girl mom, but you're a military wife too.
Yes. So my husband is active duty in the Army, and he, goes on deployment. So he's gone for like 9 to 12 months at a time. which I've gotten used to and everything. But, you know, depending on when he leaves it in their life, I feel like does determine how close they are. So when they're really little, if he leaves when they're babies, I think that it does cause more of a separation. Then they're more, you know, they're because they know me more, you know, at that age when they like don't want to go to anybody and they're like a baby. So I think if he leaves between the eight, you know, when they're when they're a baby and 2, then they're closer to me. And then if he's around that time, any other time he deploys, I think they can handle it by just talking to him through video and things like that. So my oldest was definitely closer to me than the other 2. The other 2 are kind of more daddy's girls, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's so. Then when he's gone, you're pretty much a single mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a little different too because I feel like it gets like a stigma, like you get used to it, and you do, but it's when you're home, imagine all the things you get even if you were by yourself at home when your family's around and your friends that you grew up and known for so long. So I think the hardest part is like they're gone, but I've only been here, for example, for like 6 months. So who do you leave your children with 6 months? Like, you know, like, so it takes a while to even make friends that you trust enough to even ask to have, some time to yourself. And by the time you make those friends, it's time to go to another duty station. So
how often do you guys move?
We move about every 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, my husband changes his shift every 3 years, and I bitch about that. But I can't even imagine having to move a home every 3 years.
I know. I reached out to her too about that because we're doing a move, and I'm like, Patrice, how? Give me some tips, like how
moving tips. Yeah,
so, definitely. But yeah, you get used to it. You know, like I think the first time moving is the hardest, and after that, you know, you
become a pro.
And when you meet people, you're more I think like other military wives that I meet are more understanding, so when you live on the street with other military people, they're quick to like offer to go just get you groceries. Whereas if you lived on the street just regular and they don't know you just moved in, they wouldn't offer anything.
Yeah. You're on your own. Yeah.
Patrice, can you share some of the highs and lows of being, life as a girl mom?
Yes. Okay. So the highs to me are girls are just really fun. Girls are fun. They're full of energy. And the good thing is I feel like you can do a lot of stuff, like a lot more things with girls because they can do both things. Like girls can play sports, put on makeup, like go shopping, go camping, like girls are like, I think even with clothes, like, you can put your girl in sandals from Target and cute cheap boots. You can also buy them the newest Air Max and, like they have, I feel like
that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is so true.
What about the cons?
The cons, I think, are the obvious. My daughter is 14. So, yeah, my daughter. I think attitudes of a teenage girl is like no other.
Oh, Lord.
And, yeah, I just pray constantly because
I pray constantly.
It's like recognizing that I have to stand my ground, and we're in an age, like right now, like, kids get to do so much, and I'm not strict, but I just feel like there's a time and a place for everything. You have your whole life to be grown up, so yeah.
When do you feel like she or they start to develop like an attitude?
10 years old.
10?
I think around going towards middle school, like 10 turning 11, like when they get to like the 6th grade is when they start. And if you think about it, when I think back to when I was like 11, what were you doing or feeling like at 11 years old? Like that's when you start,
But to our 11-year-old and then this 11-year-old, we didn't have social media. We didn't have it. So I feel like our 11-year-old was easy in the 90s versus these 11 and teenagers is like so much to deal with. So I feel like parenting now is a little bit harder than back in the day.
I was playing with like Pogs. Remember those?
Yes,
like
Pogs.
Pogs. These kids want like TikTok. Like what? Like my daughter has like the newest iPhone and she's 10. Like, why do you need that? Her dad bought that.
How do you handle like all the PMS and mood swings? I think that's my biggest fear of having a girl.
Has your daughter, your 14-year-old, she's PMSing? Yeah.
She is. And I feel like the PMS is like 3 weeks on. 1 week off.
I think that's even for adults.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Are you sure you're supposed to be feeling like that again? But I think talking to her, even though she doesn't act like she doesn't want to hear it, I'm in a stage right now, I feel like that at 14, for girls, I feel like even more so, they're so influenced by friendships.
Yep, absolutely.
That's everything. Like everything is what their friends want, what their friends are doing, and what's going on in their friend's life. I feel like the best way to handle it, the PMS, at least for me, that I'm trying, it's not always working for me, is that I'm telling myself before I talk to her that I should already know what to expect. Like, she's going to have an attitude and she's not going to want to hear it. And she's probably going to make a facial expression, but say what you have to say, because later I feel like it's just like me planting seeds right now, even though I cannot see the fruits of my labor. Like, I'm planting seeds in that hopefully
you'll see your garden.
Nice. Yeah, I'll get a garden one of these years. Yeah.
I love that. I like that.
And with that, I had a quick question, because we're talking about the peers and you said how important that is right now. How does she do with the moving, since at that age is so important for them?
So this has been our hardest move. Like, so we moved to Texas like 6 months ago. This whole timeline, of course, for everybody has been very difficult, but we moved to California, thinking we moved to California because my husband went to Korea at the end of 2019. So we moved to California. We got like a little apartment. So my two daughters shared a room, and my youngest one stayed in the room with me, a 2-bedroom apartment. And I'm thinking like, oh, we can just do that. We're used to having our own house and backyard and all this space. Everybody always had their own room, but we're thinking like, oh, we could do that because we're going to be out and about and with friends and going places and parks. That is not what happened. COVID happened, of course. And when I tell you, out of all the deployments my husband has ever been on, being stuck in the house with no backyard with little kids,
oh my,
without trampolines or any form of entertainment, as well as having a teenager, was the hardest thing. Mind you, we had just moved there, so she's only in school there for a limited time, which means there was no real friendship. So she had no outside source. So as much as I was tired of her, I'm sure she was tired of me because she doesn't have an outlet. Like,
yeah,
that increased the PMS attitude and the moods. And yeah, this was like the worst. So when we moved here, she was super anxious to get back to school because at this point, she feel like, it's a huge disconnect from not having friends at that age. We don't know how that is, and since we lived in an apartment, it was not like, oh, it's a block of children that are just outside and it's people she would know. It was not like that. So I think this was the hardest. Like, she came home a couple days, like crying the minute she had a mask on. And you know your child, even when they have attitudes and they get bigger, they're still your kid. So the minute she gets off the bus, I can already tell in her face, like in her eyes, like I say what's wrong, she shakes her head. The minute she pulls her mask off, she just starts bawling. Like, I don't have any friends. And, so it's a very tough time. Because like I said, I feel like with teenagers, especially girls, like friends are everything. So to move, this was her hardest move, I think, this last like year or so. But she's making friends now, so it's on the up and up. She's actually out with a friend right now.
Oh, that's good. That's upside.
And how do your girls get along? Like, are they all BFFs or?
Right.
No. Okay. Well, my middle two. I mean, my middle and my last one get along well. Like they play and hang out all the time. My oldest one and my middle one fight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my youngest one kind of takes sides. So she takes the side of my middle one because she just plays with her more. So I have to tell them, like no fighting, like you can't do that. And if it's not your fight, don't just go against your sister. Like it's, but I try to teach them that it's okay to disagree, but they're not allowed to hit each other. Like if they hit each other or something, then it's going to be a big problem. Then they're in a lot of trouble. Like they're not allowed to hit, and they're not allowed to say like me. They can't say like hate, or they can't call each other like really bad names or anything. My husband feels like I'm very like naive when it comes to that because it's three of them and they're all boys. Mm-hmm. So he feels like it's normal, where I want to like be a referee for every year. Like, wait, why are you looking like that? What happened? Like I just fix it and love each other because I don't have siblings and I wish I had that, and they don't understand. I even make them say, like, if they're fighting too much, I make them say this thing I seen on a movie, which is so corny. I make them say, we are sisters. 3 sisters are we. I'll be there for you. You be there for me. I love you. And I make them hug, and they hate it.
Okay, I think I saw that movie, and I love that. I love that.
What movie is that?
Yes, it was with Amber Rose. Was it with Amber Rose? Yes. I forgot what it was called, but I saw the movie. Yeah.
I seen that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make my kids say that. So I'm like, okay, so you guys are not getting along, you're fighting, like, and they'll be like, no, and I'm like, nope. And then if they don't say it like right, or they're mumbling, I'll be like, okay, you're gonna have to say it all over again. Like I make them hold hands, stand in a circle. They get so mad. They hate.
Oh my God, they hate it now, but when they're older, watch,
they'll remember that. They're like, remember when mom used to make us get in a circle?
That's what's gonna make them bond, like when they're grown-ups. Like, we were the only ones who did this corny thing, but that's what's like the best memory eventually.
They don't know it came from a movie. Like they think I just made it up. I'm not gonna
just own it.
So how do you handle, so I know your daughter's pretty young, but how do you handle like heartbreaks or like when like friend drama?
Even friends, not even dating, but just friends can be catty girls too.
I try to, so I feel like that starts early. The whole friend drama thing kind of starts early, I think, with the girls. But I try to not. I've heard people tell their kids, like, I don't have a lot of girlfriends because girls are drama. I try not to say that because I don't want them to have this preconceived idea of what friends are. Like, I'm trying to raise girls that are not drama, that are not like that. So I'm hoping if other people are raising those types of females, then you won't have that problem, I guess. Yeah. But I just try to say that, basically everybody, I try to tell my oldest daughter, like, everybody is not a friend. Like, just because someone like smiles or you talk to them doesn't mean they're like truly a friend. Like, that word comes with a lot of weight, and not everybody's prepared for that position, so we use it very loosely. I try to like tell her that, like, you have to, basically guard your heart when it comes to people in general. And I feel like that's girls and guys. Like, you just have to guard your heart. You can't be so easily accessible, shall I say. I try to teach her that. And I mean, I'm aware that that's going to just come with the territory. You know what I mean? Like, we are who we are because of heartbreak. Like, we are who we are because of friends doing us a certain way. We treat people differently. We do better because of what we went through, I think. So some stuff I can't protect her from. I'm just hoping, I prepare her for when it comes, that she's a little bit more resilient when it comes to that.
Has she had her heart broken yet?
So she's not allowed to date.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not going to be naive to think that she has not had a boyfriend at school. Like, I'm definitely 100% sure she's had a school boyfriend. You guys remember those, right? Like, where you never break up, right? But you just, summer happens and then you go back to school and you don't know them anymore. Like, now it's a whole.
Yeah.
So I know she's had a boyfriend at school. She's allowed to say, like, a boy is cute, or, you know, she might like somebody, but she cannot come and say, oh, this is my boyfriend. Like, okay, no, he's not. Like, that's your friend. He's a guy, and that's
it. Do you allow her to talk to boys on the phone?
That just happened. Like, she turned 14 in January, and I allowed her to talk to boys on the phone, which is surprisingly not my choice. My husband is the one who said that she should be able to talk to boys on the phone, because I was going to say no. Mm-hmm. But he says that if everything is a no, then that's when, like, sneaking and things come into play. And if you can talk to a boy at school, you should be able to talk to a boy on the phone. Like, you talk, it's a conversation. So,
well, shit, that's pretty good.
That is.
They're lucky that he.
Don't say that now. He might hear you. Like, what a good idea. So,
most of the time, it's switched. It's the opposite, where the mom's like, "Come on, later," and the dad's like, "Nope." You know,
I got my shotgun ready.
Yeah, no, he said, no, it's fine. Just let her, like, just like he's the one who gave them, like, bought them the newer phones for Christmas. Like, I'm like, I feel like they can have an iPhone 4. Like, it's fine. Like, he's like, no, like, so he's a little bit more, he's strict, but he's a little bit, let me rephrase that. I think I'm more strict. I have more rules, but I bark a lot and don't bite. My husband, he can say less and they listen more because he doesn't say much, and they know whatever he says, he means it. So if he says, if you do this, you're going to be grounded and you won't have your phone and you won't whatever, they know that he really means it. Like, he'll be nice about it. He's not going to yell or scream or nothing. He's very mild-mannered and very laid back, but he'll do that. For me, I'm like, oh, if you don't have your phone, then that's going to be more work for me. Like, yes. I can't go nowhere. So, like, they might be on punishment for a day, but come on, we got to go because I want us to all go to the fair or something. And then
I'm not going to miss out on life or fun. Yeah.
Oh, like, I'm horrible when it comes to following through. Like, but he's really good on consistency. So,
that is so funny. Okay, so I know that your daughter is still pretty young. She's only 14, but do you feel like parenting gets a little bit easier or harder as they grow?
I think harder. My younger daughter, you know, like my youngest one, even my 10-year-old, like my 10-year-old still is, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. I think so much of it is personality. Like, I think, you know, no matter how we raise our children or what age they are, personality trumps all of that. I think, like, they just have to, you know, they're whole people, so they're gonna choose certain things themselves. But as far as how hard it is, I think it's harder when they're older because they're you know, they're more impressionable from the outside. When they're younger, they have less access to things, so all they know is the world you put them in. Like, they go where you tell them to go. They, you know, but as they get older, you have to, like, loosen the leash a little bit and let them go out and be around other people, and that's harder. So with friends being such a big influence, you know, now it's whatever, you know, such and such as mom lets them do. Or my daughter told me the other day that she has a friend who the sister is grown, and she was telling me how the sister lets her friend smoke vapes. And I said, what? Like, no. Now, mind you, that's why it's harder, because as she talks to me, I have to, like, control my facial expressions. I have to control, like, what I say. But the whole time I'm thinking, like, you're not going over there, right? But
no more.
Like, but I can't say that because I don't want to stop the communication, you know? So oh, really? Like, how often does she let her, you know, I have to sound like I'm all interested in this horrible situation that she's telling me not to like,
Which is building your case slowly so that you can tell her why she can't go hang out with her.
So remember hold on, like, let me get okay, so you said on Tuesday they smoked? Like, okay, on Tuesday you went outside? Like, no. But I think it's older. Older is definitely, and mind you, she's going to high school next year. So, or this in September. So I can't imagine, like, what does that look like? Like, oh my goodness.
And
like,
you are right. It is, and that's what I feel like where it comes in, where it's so hard at parenting, because like you're trying to make this child be this way, but then you have their peers who are like, no, do this, and you're trying to keep them straight, and then they're like, no, go this way, and you're like, no, that's the hardest part. And some parents are like, they let their kids do a little bit more than you may be comfortable with yours doing, and they're like, well, so and so wearing crop tops, well, you're not wearing a crop top at this age, so we're not doing it.
A whole nother, oh my Lord.
I was just using that for an example. I wish Harley would talk about a crop top at 4. I'll probably be in the grave somewhere.
Yes, like it's so much. It's, for example, I don't know, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Everybody parents how they feel. I know how we're raised contributes to how we parent our children and all types of things. But my daughter was like, she had friends who, like, they just let their kids go to the mall by themselves when she was like 12. And I'm like, I don't mean, like, you want me to drop you off and drive away? Like, or do you want me to go in the store and let you walk? Like, you can walk inside a Target, or like, we can go to the mall and you can walk in the store ahead of me if you don't want me to walk next to you, but you're not going to be dropped off and I drive my car away from the whole mall. Like, you don't want me to find a parking space? Like, no, that's not going to happen. So, so she just thinks we're like the most ridiculous parents in the world right now. But
I feel like that kind of parenting style is far and few now. Like, it's so uncommon now, because I'm dealing with my son too, and all of their friends, like, none of them have chores. None of those kids have chores. And they all have cell phones, and they all, like, they all get everything and not have to do anything. And they, and some of them have bad grades and they still have cell phones. And I'm like, what the heck? And then their parents just,
you're making us look bad.
and then my son's like, Mom, and I have chores, and you don't give me a cell phone, and you don't let me go this. And I'm like, God, they're making me look real bad. Yeah. Like, how do I plead my case?
That's exactly what it is. And my daughter feels like, it's been so many things. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, no, like, luckily sometimes it works in my favor. Recently they had a carnival and she wanted to go to the carnival. Now, when I was younger, I went to carnivals or whatever by myself with a group of friends, but I think I was like 16, not at 14. So I said, if you and your friends if you want me to take you, I could leave your sisters home, like with your dad, and I could take you guys to the carnival. Again, I'm not gonna like babysit them or, like, I'm aware that she's getting older, but she wants to be completely just let free. Like, that's not gonna happen. So I told her, no, like, either I'll take you and you pick a time or a day and I can take you, or you can't go. So, of course, she had a whole meltdown, and then she didn't want to talk to me at that time. But what ended up happening is that they had, like, I guess, a big fight at the carnival. And she said people were, like, jumping the fence. So she comes home from school and she's like, oh, my gosh, Mom, I'm so happy I didn't go to that carnival. It was a big old fight and people were recording it and they were talking about how bad it was. And they shut the carnival down early. And I was like, oh. So the whole time, like, I'm controlling my face because I'm thinking, like, well, see, if you would have went, but I don't say that. I'm like, oh, like, she's like, I'm happy I didn't go. And I'm thinking, you didn't go because I told you not to go.
Exactly.
You're like, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah. So sometimes it works in my favor, like, where I know she recognizes that she would have been there had I told her no, but she won't give me the credit. She'll just say, I'm happy I didn't go, but that's fine.
Because you know the
It
levels
sucks,
of your
man.
child, and if they'll like, you know, be able to get in a situation like that, will they be able to handle it by themselves? No, like they're going to be exposed to things that they're not ready for at that age. So this is 9 times out of 10 why we say no, because we know if something breaks out like that without a parent, you're not going to know the first thing to do.
Yeah,
So,
like you're not going to set them up for failure. You know, you want to make sure that they're responsible enough to handle
and know how to
something
handle
first.
a situation when they're exposed to those kind of things.
This reminds me of the movie Yesterday. Have you guys seen Yesterday?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Was it good? I didn't watch that yet.
Oh,
pretty-
it's
you
on
should watch
Netflix.
it.
It's on Netflix. It's crazy. I don't know if I could have a yes day.
Landon
Oh,
asked
no,
for one
I
all the
can't
time
handle
now.
Basically, what happens is the parents agree to say yes to whatever the kids ask for that day.
For
so
one day.
everything is yes for that one day.
Mm-mm.
And the girl wants to go to like a festival.
I don't even think I could do yes for a few hours. I probably would have my breakfast. Like, no, girl.
I feel like they would mess with me on purpose. Like they would make me eat the worst thing on purpose just to see if I would say yes. It wouldn't be like one of those fun things. So what kind of relationship do you feel like you have with your girls? Do you feel like you guys are pretty close, and do you feel like you're closer to some more than others? Or and I know, like you said, personalities are what is a big, factor in this too.
Yes. So, I mean, I think for the most part, for example, right now, I feel like the most strained relationship is with my oldest daughter, like, because she just feels like I'm the big bad wolf at the moment. But I know that I think that will come full circle eventually, because I know that when it's stuff that she wants to talk about, like, oh, a friend something's happening, she still comes and will like get on the floor by my bed and talk, although she swore she didn't want to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that I'm close to all of them on their level. You know what I mean? Like, my closeness to my oldest is different than my closeness to my 10-year-old, because my 10-year-old is like, she's at the age where I have keys and she ready to go. Like, oh, you're going to Starbucks? Like, let's go. And, my youngest one is more like just sitting down on the floor and putting her feet on me or something. Like if I tried to do that with my oldest one, she'll be like, I'm going upstairs. I'm about to talk on the phone or something. Like, so I feel like at their level, yes, I think that we have seasons that I'm a little bit closer to one of them, maybe for a certain amount of time, and then that kind of falls out. But I do make it a point to spend time with them separately by themselves, just to kind of give them an opportunity to, speak and talk. Like my older one is like me, she'll talk and take over. I'm a like life of the party. I can talk to a stranger quick. My middle one is more like my husband, a little bit more reserved, like just observes. So if I take them all together all the time, then she probably wouldn't get a word in, because my youngest one and my oldest one will talk the most. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's necessary to keep them separate sometimes to give everybody their own mommy time. And my husband does the same thing. He'll take them by themselves to do things and pick them up, or, pick them up early from school one day so they're not riding the bus, just to have a few moments to talk. So I don't think I'm more close to any of them at the moment. If I can predict the future, I would say I'm probably gonna be the closest to my middle one, just because she is more attentive. So I think she would just always, even if I upset her or something, she's gonna always just calling you, like, to see what you're doing, whereas my oldest one to be like, nope, you made me mad, I'm not calling you till next week.
So your middle one's not gonna put you in a home, but the older one may.
It's so funny because my husband is the middle child, and my mother-in-law made her will and testament and all that stuff, and she gave my husband full everything, and he is up to him to divide it amongst his brothers, because she feels like he's the most responsible and blah blah blah, but he's the middle child. And I feel like my daughter is like the same way. I feel like if something was to happen right now, and she's only 10, she would be the most fair. I think she would be the most level-headed when it comes to things like that. You know what I mean? Like she can separate her own personal feelings and do what's right over.
Awesome to see, like seeing
I
that in
wonder
your
if
children.
that's like all middle children though,
Yeah.
because I feel like that my middle child, he is very thoughtful and
Mine
he
too.
is very fair too. He's not self-absorbed or anything like that. So that's interesting. I wonder how that's gonna be. Yeah.
You have both of your middle children are boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the same. We have
The same
2
order.
boys and then a girl, and then
Mhm.
she has 2 boys.
So you're gonna have a girl?
We're waiting on it. We're seeing.
Are we manifesting this?
Are we manifesting?
All the pink things, like all the pink.
So what are your guys' rules on like makeup? And I know we had said crop tops and things like that, like those stylish, in style, trendy, revealing clothing, you know, what's curfew, dating.
So the hard part is, again, is that now things have just changed so much, you know, like even TV, like, you know, certain things that they would have said, it would have been X-rated when we were younger. Now it's so like, you know, that's like PG. Like what happens? Like they can say that in a PG movie or something. I feel like it's like that for clothes as well. You know, like the bad part about a girl is that, you know, they get older or they may get taller but not be as old. So their body size, the clothing that they wear does not coordinate with the ages of clothes in the store. So what happens is that you're making the clothes that fit them to really fit like an 18-year-old. Like they're not 18. So she cannot wear, like shorts now are ridiculous. Like the inseam is like you know how short that is. So I try to be somewhere in the middle, like where you can wear a crop top, but you have to wear a tank top underneath it, because crop tops everything is a crop top almost. So you can't away from crop tops, but they have to wear, you know, like get those little spaghetti strap shirts. So you can tuck that in where it still gives you the look, in some high waist pants or something. It still looks like you have on a crop top, but if you raise your arms, then you'll see a tank top. As far as makeup, I would get the little Ipsy bag. So whatever was left over, I would let them play in, but you cannot wear makeup out the house. I did let my 14-year-old, she can wear clear mascara. Mm-hmm. Just to make her feel like she was doing something, she can have clear mascara. And I bought her some Fenty lip gloss in her stocking for Christmas. So that was like a few weeks before she turned 14. She got to get her first little name brand lip gloss or something. But no, I mean, I'm sorry. I know I'm real old school, but I just feel like you gotta just wait your turn, like I did. Like wait your turn. It'll come.
And was she satisfied with the clear mascara?
Yes, she's satisfied with clear mascara. And she got caught trying to like wear colored, I mean, you know, like black mascara on her eyes, and then I guess she thought she can wipe it off, but like I'm her mom and I'm all in her face. Like
mascara is hard to take off.
Yeah, you get caught quick with mascara.
All things to sneak on, and you know she's really fair skinned, so you can see everything left over on her face. So she's like her dad's complexion. So I'm like, when she did that, we were like, okay, well, you lose the benefit of being able to play in it until we can trust you, because I'm not going to check backpacks and stuff like that. So then we made her put all her stuff in the caboodle and put it outside in the, like, you know, in our little shed thing, until she can like respect the rules of the house. And so, yeah, we got to do stuff like that. It's ridiculous, but we love
her. Curfew.
I mean, Alyssa, we love you.
Yeah.
Like, we love her. But yeah. Curfew. I don't know how that will work, but I know, for example, like our rules so far, we used to say it was based on age, a lot of things. Like when you turn this age, you can have this. Like when you turn this age, you can have a phone. But we kind of steered away from that once we start recognizing how personalities were so different, maturity levels are different. We cannot set an age. It's not an age for everybody, because at 13 for you may be completely different for 13 for the next one. So now it's kind of like just depending on how you are at that time. Like there's no rule for anything. Like, so there's no rule for dating. If you're showing me you're responsible enough to where I can trust your actions at a certain age, then you can go out on a date. But if I can't trust your actions and I can't, based on how you are in other areas of your life, then maybe you need to just have your little boyfriend come over here, and then that's going to be your date in the living room or something. I don't know. So we just, curfew will be based on the child and how responsible they are.
Okay, that makes sense. And then what about for like bedtimes? Like, because I feel like right now it's my oldest is trying to negotiate bedtimes every school year. Is like, can I get another hour? Can I get another 30 minutes? And I'm like, by the time you're in high school, you're going to be like 3:00 in the morning, the way that you're pushing it, you know? What do you guys do?
Well, we allow, my youngest one has to be in bed by 8:30. 8:00 is in bed. She reads, so like she falls asleep by like 8:30. I allow my oldest one initially like 10 o'clock or so. But he was having a hard time getting up to get on the bus in the morning. Like she's running late, or you missed the bus, or something like that. So when that kind of stuff happens, then we pulled her curfew back. So now that goes to show again how it's not really about age or grade, because my middle daughter has to be on the bus earliest. Her bus comes at 6:40 in the morning. And my oldest daughter bus comes at 7:15. But my oldest one will still be late for the bus or miss the bus. And my middle daughter, you don't even have to wake her up. Her phone goes off, she'll get up, she makes up her bed, she gets dressed. Again, that's just personality though. That like we're not raising them different. There's nothing that we're doing. That's just how she is. So now her curfew is like the same as my oldest, because we moved my oldest daughter's curfew
Down.
back, and now their curfew is the same, even though one is 10 and one is 14.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So what tips do you have for girl moms who want to build like a strong bond with their daughters?
The best thing would be to recognize that the day and age is different first, and that we can't really all the way parent our children based on what we've been through, or just because times are different and they're different people. So I think to keep a strong bond, you have to just meet your children where they are. Like you have to really have multiple personalities. Like I can't be just one me and have 3 daughters. Like I have to be a different version of myself for each of them, because they're different people. So they will receive it different. I can do the same exact thing with one, and the other one will receive it completely different. Like my oldest, I can say something to her and it would roll off her shoulders. My middle one, if I tell her I'm so disappointed in you, that would she can't believe it. Like, you're disappointed. My oldest one would be like, oh well, you'll be all right tomorrow. Like, she don't care at all. Like, my youngest one is somewhere in the middle. It depends on her day that she may or may not care. But I feel like in order to create a strong bond, you just have to recognize that they are different people and bond with them on who they are, not just on what you create in your own mind. You know what I mean? Like before I had children, I had this whole outline of like what I was going to do and how I was going to treat them and what I was going to say. That's not really how it works. So yeah, just meet them where they are and just always communicate. One thing I would tell all of them is that there is nothing you can do or say that's going to ever stop me from loving you. Like, even if I'm disappointed or I don't agree, or, I taught you better than that, like, the love will always be there. I've given them scenarios like, you can commit murder and I don't agree with that, and I hope you never do that, but I'm coming to visit you. Like, you're my child and I love you, period. Like, there's no comma. That's the end of it. Like, I love you, period. So that's an important thing. And also, like, I've told them, if even if you do something against what I believe, like, I really told my oldest daughter this, like, even if we watched the movie on Lifetime and the girl ended up getting sex trafficked. And I thought it was such a good movie that I paused some of it and let my daughter watch it. And it was like how she wanted to be like a older girl, and she went with the girl to run away. And she got to like when they finally got to where they were going, she knew something was wrong. And she said that it was really her interviewing. They were reenacting, but it was really her interviewing. She said she knew something was wrong, but she didn't want to call home because she didn't know what her mom would say. And that's the worst thing. Like, yes, you may hear my mouth, and yes, I may get upset, and yes, I may be disappointed, but never feel like you can never call me, ever. I don't care if I told you can't go and you sneak out the house and you weren't supposed to be there. If someone is drinking and driving, wanting to drive, then you call home, because I would rather all day you call me to pick you up than for you to be on the side of the ditch somewhere. And I feel like that's the most important thing, to keep the bond regardless of the circumstance, knowing that I got you always. I
love that. Yeah, because your consequences as a parent will be way less than them getting sex trafficked or, abducted or something, murdered.
Right.
Shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
I love that. I'm gonna tell my kids that.
I'm gonna make them watch this.
Awesome, Patrice, you did amazing. Thank you so much for letting us into your girl mom life. It sounds really fun though, having all girls.
Fun. We do fun things. I'm trying to be like you, Roni, though, because you do all the crafts and all the like.
Lord,
she's super mom. We tell her all the time.
We're all trying to be like.
I'm like, what in my shirt? Oh, like you calling me out,
mom?
Maybe that's why I said that, because I saw her shirt.
It was after I was late, so I listened to it after the Christmas season, and I'd already given out the pamphlets. But I listened to all the shows, even if I'm like a week or two late. Oh man, I should have done that. So now I have mental note that next year I'm going to have a whole day where we just for fun cut out. Like, I was like, I've never done that. I have them go through, like one of you guys said, I don't know which one said it, like go through and circle and highlight or something. That's what I do with like Amazon books for Christmas and things. Roni over here like, oh, we just have a day and we or something. I was like, oh, I want to make the
posters.
It's chaotic. Sometimes those kids, I have to keep them busy. I have to find things to keep them busy so that they don't work my nerves. I like the craft.
Yes, I love your show, and I am an avid follower, and keep it up.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Patrice.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you want to catch up on our previous episodes, visit mamasmimosas.com, where you'll get access to all of our podcast show notes, our YouTube videos, and our private Facebook group, where we chat with you about each episode topic and host live question and answers with our favorite mom tribe. Can't wait to see you there.